What is up, team? Welcome back to the Red Storm Rapid Reaction Podcast. I'm Pat Kane. That's Cole Latshaw. That sound you heard was him cracking a beer, a celebratory beer, because St. John's is going back to the Big East Tournament Finals for the first time since 2000. A 79-63 second half drumming, a real dominant performance late by St. John's, advances to tomorrow's Big East Tournament Final against the winner of Creighton and UConn. Cole, what were your first thoughts on St. John's big win tonight?
Oh, Pat, we've run out of superlatives to talk about with this team. I am at a loss for words. I love this team. I love our fans. I love everything about this university. I love Rick Pitino. I love Mike Rapoli. We've said it a million times. Zubiev with just an absolute monstrous performance tonight with 33 boards, just 33 points, just taking it to Ben Gold all night long. It's incredible. I'm so excited for tomorrow night. I'm so excited to play in the Big East Championship. I'm so excited to call ourselves Big East regular season champions and Big East tournament champions. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. I already just jinxed us, but bring on UConn, bring on Creighton, whoever it be. We're ready. And I just can't wait. I can't wait to finish the Big East tournament. I can't wait to get into March Madness. I can't wait for Selection Sunday. It's fun time to be a Johnny, man. It's great.
Well, it certainly is a fun time, and you just
let me say, I know I just jinxed us, but let me say, like, when I say it's a fun time to be a Johnny, and I've said this previously, I don't mean a fun time to be an alumni, like our Subway alumnus. I mean our Johnnies along with us, our other friends and followers, the people that have jumped on since Rick Pitino has become a coach. They're Johnnies as well. Like, we're all Johnnies.
Yeah, I'm not an alumni, and I certainly feel like I've been welcomed by the St. John's community. Speaking of being welcomed, I got to give a huge shout out to our good friend Tommy O for hooking me up with some unbelievable box seats. Just an awesome experience yesterday, being able to be at the Garden for St. John's. Huge win, and then an amazing game versus Marquette and Xavier following that. Can't thank you enough, man. That was awesome. It speaks to what Cole was saying about this, just the St. John's fans really came together. I don't think we're making many friends out there outside of the St. John's community, but who cares? Onwards, upwards. Since you already jinxed us, Cole, is there a certain team you'd like to see tomorrow night?
I mean, I think Val Ackerman wants that Marquette or that marquee matchup of UConn versus the two-time defending national champion UConn against St. John's. I personally, after watching that DePaul game last night, I want Creighton. I want to shove it up Stephen Ashworth and Ryan Kalkbringer's rear ends. Like, that's the matchup I want. But either way, it's going to be absolute cinema. I can't wait. I can't believe 4.5-point favorites today against a really good Marquette game. Cam Jones is just absolutely cooking all night long, and we just absolutely spank them. Like, dude, this team is. Shout out to Ryan Esquire and his Sunday Spaces. He said it a few weeks ago, but it's just like we have to disassociate ourselves from our previous St. John's trauma and this current team. This current team has proven that they can't be tied to any of this waiting for the other shoe to drop St. John's mentality. This team has an unbelievable will to win, their ability to separate from teams in close games, their ability to play defense. Again, the ability of different players to step up in different nights. Zuby goes from 4 points yesterday to 33 points today. It's just incredible. I don't know, man. Again, at a loss for words. I love it.
Yeah, it's a lot of built-up trauma, though, Cole. It's not easy to just let go and trust. And you're right, and Ryan's right. Shout out to him and those faces. This team has proven over and over again that they are going to get the job done, whether that's bouncing back from a tough start like we saw tonight, we saw at UConn, or it's just hanging on nights we don't really have it shooting-wise like we saw against Butler in the regular season, or it's a game tonight where you just blew the doors off a really good Marquette team in the second half, a team that came out 100% ready to play, hit shots early, and you made them look like boys, really, in that second half. And, you just said some mean things about a couple Creighton kids, and usually I'd say we got to take it easy on some college kids, but those two Creighton guys are closer to our age than they are college freshman ages, so I'll let that one slide.
And they're being paid professionally, so
fuck them. Yeah. It's all fun and games. Let's talk quick about Zuby tonight. You mentioned it. I mean, what an unbelievable performance. We've said it over and over again. He just keeps on improving, keeps on impressing us. Deservedly has been getting, more and more attention throughout the season. First team All Big East. Probably had votes for Defensive Player of the Year. Was definitely in that discussion behind Kalkbrenner. I can't believe how smooth he looks around the rim. Like he, he makes a couple just turns away from contact, finds himself there, and just drops it in so smooth. Where there were times last year where it looked rough, clunky, all sorts of things, and it's obvious the kid works on his game. It's obvious he will play his hardest no matter what the score is, and to see him rewarded in such a way. What did he finish with tonight, Cole? You said it was a career high.
Career high, 33, 9 boards. I mean,
33 points.
It's just,
it's unbelievable. 10 for 11 from the free throw line. I'm sorry, 11 for 12 from the free throw line. And, I've been giving Gus Johnson a lot of shit, and I'm not a big fan of his as is. And I think he's way worse now than when he ever was, when he was actually, worthy of being well-renowned. But I'll give him credit for the edge nickname he was throwing out there tonight for Zuby. I did like that. The edge, I think, could be something that sticks. And that guy just has an edge on everybody in terms of his will to just fight for loose balls and rebounds. How many flagrant fouls has he drawn this year just by probably just annoying guys to the point where they have no choice but to hit him with an elbow underneath the neck or go at his head like we saw tonight?
Yeah, and to your Gus Johnson criticism, like I was going to jump on that as well. But he had, to your point about Zuby's smoothness around the rim, he was saying, it's like dream shake reminiscent, some of the moves that Zuby was throwing around there, which is, I mean, to have that type of comparison is incredible from a kid that we watched last year who really at times you question whether or not he was good enough to be a Big East caliber big. And he takes that type of step under Rick Pitino. Again, what have we been saying about Vince Iwuchukwu? What have a lot of St. John's Twitter said about Vince Iwuchukwu this year? It's like, he's not a Big East caliber big. Well, you know what? Let's see what he does in year 2 under Rick Pitino. Let's see that type of jumps that he makes, because we just watched Zuby Ejiofor go from a kid that couldn't get on the court at all at Kansas, that then could barely get onto the court, maybe 10, 12 minutes, similar kind of what Vince is getting this year in his first year under Rick Pitino, to now being the most improved player in the Big East Conference. To, I heard Zach Braziller on his Spaces the other night say that he thinks Zuby Ejiofor will be a top 20 player in all of college basketball as he returns next year. That's the type of player that we have on our roster, are pretty much guaranteed, maybe fingers crossed, coming back next year to play under Rick Pitino. I mean, it's just incredible the way these players progress, that these one-on-one sessions pay off under Rick Pitino. And, I make the Vince comparison, which might be a little tongue-in-cheek, might be a little fingers crossed, but it also is Zuby's work ethic. And Rick has said he's one of the hardest working players that he's ever had. And that's what it takes to be the perfect combination of a perfect guy who's going to improve under Rick Pitino. You have to be willing to accept his criticism. You have to be willing to work hard and improve your game. And Zuby has done everything, and you've seen it pay off in spades. And I couldn't be prouder of him to see that type of performance tonight on the national stage. I mean, we hopped on here pretty quick because we got to get the rapid react out to all of our rapid reactors. But, you saw him in post game sitting down with the entire Big East crew on Fox. And it's just like, dude, you're on a national stage. Obviously, we're just on Jimmy Fallon. Like, it's the coolest thing in the world. And you couldn't be happier for a kid like you saw in the Vice documentary in one of the first couple episodes with his families, plural. And it's just, you tell what a great kid he is. And I couldn't be happier for the progression that we've seen.
I would push back quite a bit on the whole Vince thing, but other than that, all accolades Zuby's way. You couldn't speak for long enough. I mean, honestly, keep him coming, and he hopefully gets the biggest check we can provide him and comes back and is even a better player next year.
I'll do one better. I'll do a double pushback on the Vince thing. I mean, Vince is still he's a 5-star level kid. I mean,
yeah, but he's a junior, Cole. He's a junior in the postseason. There's
still the possibility of him to make progression.
Yeah, but
under
this
Rick
is what
Pitino.
I'll say. last year we saw a lot more from Zuby. He was to the point where people are saying we can't even. Maybe it's better to have him on the floor than it is to have Joel on the floor. Let's be honest. And this year, it's like Vince comes in, and I'm thinking, how long can we survive? That's my honest opinion.
I think last year Zuby, we saw like 12. We would see 12 minutes a game out of him, and we'd be like, okay, there's a lot of activity. Yeah, like there was a lot of movement out of him, but I don't think anybody in their wildest dreams could have seen this progression. So when I say I don't think I'm going to see Vince dropping 33 and 9 next year, but do I think Vince can progress from you questioning whether or not he can stay on the court to then progressing to maybe being like a valid Big East backup center next year? I think that's 100% within reason when you're doing the player progression with Rick Pitino. I don't think it's crazy to see that type of leap.
No, I don't think it's far to be valid to be a backup quality Big East center, but that's far from what Zuby is right now.
No, of course. Again, and like I'm saying, that's not my point. I'm just saying we can see a similar jump to what we've seen from one level to another, like we saw from one level to another with Zuby. And fingers crossed, again, we're going to have Zuby back as our starting center. We don't need to worry about Vince progressing to be a starting center level player. We already got that starting.
Well, that's why I wouldn't count on him. I'm not trying to send anybody out of here. With Zuby coming back, is that what he's want to do with his senior year in college? Would be my question. Maybe. Let's move on to Kadary. All right, Kadary Richmond, another beautiful game. The guy is so rock solid. Rarely shows emotion. When he does, it's a big time situation, a big time play, like we saw in the game-winning basket against Marquette a couple of games back. But so rock steady, does a little bit of everything for this team. Started off the game by grabbing 3 or 4 rebounds early. Finished the game by having a few baskets late, a few dimes throughout the whole 40 minutes of basketball. Trust him so much. You could see Rick a few times getting animated on the sidelines, yelling at the guys to get Kadary the basketball to settle us down. And every time he had it, I felt like, something good was going to happen. And that's the best thing you can say about a point guard.
Yeah, man, just incredible. I mean, obviously he had the triple-double a couple nights ago. Has an incredible, arguably would have had a triple-double if he played a full game against Butler last night or yesterday after early afternoon. Flirts with a triple-double again tonight. It's just incredible, his ability to fill up the stat sheet. We've been saying it all season long, even early in the season when he was being criticized. His ability to affect the game in a multitude of ways. When you absolutely need a basket, he can get it for you. Like you said, he slows down the game. He's such a smart, heady player. He was the number 1 ranked player in the transfer portal in the offseason, and I think that was been 100% deserved. I think him being second team all Big East is an absolute crime. Obviously, some of the players in the New York media voiced their opinions on that, and they all thought he should have been first team. I'm right there with them. But he's just an unbelievable player, and just like his poise, his Rick talks all the time about his demeanor as a senior player. It's just incredible, and he's been insane all year, and just I can't wait to see when he finally gets his chance to play in March Madness. Absolutely deserving.
That is true. Did he get there his freshman year with Syracuse?
Might have. I might be selling him short with the Syracuse.
Yeah, no, it didn't cross my mind. I think he actually did, but wasn't playing a huge impact. He finished 12 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals. He had 1 big block.
Most importantly, yeah, exactly what you said. Most importantly, in my opinion, only 2 turnovers. His ability to not turn the ball over, just wild.
And he had those 2 turnovers in the first half, so he played that whole second half without any turnovers. And they were, Marquette gets out there and they pressure. Just awesome. I hope tomorrow will be interesting. St. John's, we got to win first. Zuby's performance tonight. Kadary's had 2 games in a row that have just been classic Kadary game. Will there be a little bit of rewarding someone other than RJ on St. John's if they do pull it out to give them the Big East Tournament Most Valuable Player Award? I'm with you. It's hard to give 3 guys 5 slots on one first team, but you couldn't convince me no way that there's 5 guys more valuable than Kadary in this conference, and I'm sure some of these votes got split. From his own guys.
You bring up such an interesting point. My God, dude. Now I'm thinking about it. And it's obviously it's dependent on, if we would win tomorrow or how we would play. But it's You had an insane game from RJ yesterday. And then, I don't want to call it a poor game from him today, but he shoots, a little less well from the field today. You have only 4-point game from Zuby in our first game against Butler. You have a 33-point performance. Like, is Kadari like the smooth and steady guy, like who has a great performance throughout the entire of the conference tournament? It's super interesting to think of.
And he could go ahead and get a triple-double tomorrow night, and
then just lock it down, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Aaron Scott, credit to Aaron Scott. He hit some big threes in the second half. 2 of them, as you were expanding that lead to give us some breathing room. Looked like he got a little banged up late, but was back in there with his hand wrapped up. Haven't heard word on Kadari's hand that's been wrapped up, taped up for the last month or so.
Just Warrior. He's got a wrapped up hand. He's got 2 pulled groins. He's got 3 pulled groins. Like,
just however many you could have, he's got one more.
Straight up Warrior. Yeah. And also same thing, like you mentioned, Aaron Scott, like you hope his finger's okay. Like, great to see him like then get back into the game. Me and Sean talked about it yesterday after the Butler game, just how important Aaron Scott is. And immediately what I thought on the bang thumb after he, plays the lion's share of the minutes today, 34, after being in foul trouble against Butler, is how important he is defensively, how important he is to everything we do, shot making from deep. As soon as he banged his thumb, it's like, oh, great, he stayed out of foul trouble today. And then he gets hurt at the end of the game. But fingers crossed, you hope that everything's good on the thumb. The fact that he stayed out of foul trouble today and was able to be out in the court, I think that speaks a lot to the fact we were able to pull away against I don't want to say great team like Marquette. Like, it's a lot to do with what we do at the defensive end. And I think Aaron Scott is so important to what we do at the defensive end.
Yeah, that second half was just another clinic of us defensively, scrambling, running guys off the 3-point line, forcing Marquette to be drivers and finishers. And Cam Jones can only make so many, tough shots in the lane all night. That's an impossible task. And he's done it 2 games in a row, and it hasn't been enough. Joplin, whenever he takes a 3, I feel like it's going in, but St. John's is running them off the 3-point line in the second half as best as you can. And Marquette is a team that likes to play in space, and St. John's is a team that says we're going to guard you in space and let you see if you can beat us. And over 40 minutes tonight, St. John's just wore them down, and that was the continued story that's been the case 22 games now through Big East play, and damn it, we need one more tomorrow night.
Absolutely, buddy. Yeah, again, you hope Davon's doing okay health-wise with his shoulder. I know it looked like he dinged it up a little bit against Butler. Didn't look exactly himself tonight, but still is able to be like.
Let me ask you this: has there been a game where he's been back where it doesn't look like he's banged it up? Like, I feel like that's just going to be something we're going to see.
Yeah, but I think he's looked more himself as far as whether it's scoring in certain games than he did today or recently. I think Rick mentioned yesterday, it's a lot of it is between the ears with him and his injury. It's like, and he said all the right things. I think there was a Braziller article where he was talking about like he doesn't envision himself missing another. He not even envision himself. Yeah. He's not going to miss another game, I think was the quote from him. Again, another warrior, but out there with that shoulder, you can tell it's bothering him, but he's still going to gut it out. And you still, even if it is bothering him, you still see him make those flashes of it's just like, dude, there is not a more explosive, a better player on that court than him. And it's incredible, his athletic ability.
He had a couple bursts. There's one for an offensive rebound, like in traffic, that he got and led to a break, where then he slowed the game down. And like, that was really when our crowd started to erupt. And before they could really stand up and give us an ovation, Kadari made a beeline to the basket, dropped it off to Zuby for a dunk, and a kind of really sealed the deal right there. But yeah, Smith had some big time plays, looking more and more comfortable. We're only going to be as great as we can be if he's healthy. So hopefully he stays that way. And tomorrow night we can wrap this up and just enjoy Sunday night for a nice selection Sunday. This will be a brand new experience for me, experience I've never really had. I guess you could say in Lavin's year and one in Mullen's year, we weren't really sweating it out, but our eagerness and our excitement is going to be, are we at 2? Are we in the East? Who's that 7, that 10, that 8, that 9? Who are those matched up teams we're going to be in our bracket with? and we still got a freaking Big East tournament final tomorrow night. So this is just a whole different ball game for us as St. John's fans. And don't wake me up, please.
Fun times, buddy. Hey, so let me ask you, you brought it up a little bit, the fans and how it's been the turnout there at MSG. Rick obviously like got on the fan base a little bit. Sean speculated what was Jedi mind tricks of trying
What did he say?
Convince the fans to come out a little bit more. But Rick was mentioning in the Butler game, there was a lot of blue in the stands. I mean, I mentioned, hey, maybe that's blue for Xavier, maybe that's blue for Marquette, maybe that's blue for the Butler Bulldogs. But from your perspective up there in that beautiful box seat, thanks to Tommy O, what did it look like from your perspective? Like a lot of red? Did it get loud? It's kind of hard in these tournament games to portray like how loud it's really getting in MSG for St. John's. I think, in my opinion, again, from watching this all from home, it sounded a little bit louder today in the Marquette game during St. John's sprints. But
when I was walking around, like going around the concourse and headed up to those Lexus suites,
oh God, listen to him fucking dropping big timer.
There were heavy majority of people's gear that I was seeing walking around with St. John's apparel. Yeah.
Love it.
Like it didn't, I guess maybe a lot of it wasn't just bright red stuff. And people that weren't wearing St. John's stuff weren't really wearing Butler or Marquette or Xavier. Like in terms of fan affiliates, St. John's was the heavy majority. And it wasn't packed to the gills, but it was loud as hell when it needed to be.
12 o'clock is a rough start time. I mean, I know it's the most fun for us. Obviously, it means you're the 1 seed. Like, so it's the most fun for us. But I mean, obviously, you got people working and stuff like that. It's a rough tip time. But I had mentioned on our podcast last night after the Butler game, I think you're going to see that just St. John's contingent grow and grow and grow as losing teams sell off their tickets. Who's looking to buy? Who's in New York? It's going to be more St. John's. Interesting to see. Obviously, how's the game going tonight? UConn's obviously going to travel well. Hypothetically, if it is Creighton, man, that's going to be I gotta think it'd be a heavy St. John's crowd.
Yeah. Either way, we're going to own that. We're going to own that building tomorrow night. I mean, we're going to.
Dude, that is a hot take.
We're going to own that building tomorrow night.
If it's UConn, 2-time defending national champions.
What were you saying earlier about Ryan's advice?
No, dude, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. I think it will be. I think it will be a majority St. John's crowd. And the thing I'm hopeful for is, it's St. John's in the Big East Tournament Championship final. Like, I want to hear that crowd as loud as we heard it during some of those other MSG home games, during that, the Seton Hall clinching game, or I want to hear it that loud. We haven't, it's a hot ticket, dude. It's a very expensive ticket, but I hope as some of these losing teams start selling off their losing teams tickets, that our St. John's fans can scoop those up, and that it's a raucous environment tomorrow. Because God bless these kids. I mean, the fact that we're playing in the you could have asked Cole after the disappointment of us missing out on the NCAA tournament last year, hey, next year, dude, you're going to be the 16th ranked in the AP poll at the end of the year. You're going to be the number 1 seed in the Big East tournament. You're going to be playing in the Big East tournament finals. You're going to be the Big East tournament, or you're going to be the Big East regular season conference champions. I wouldn't have said any of that. Even if after you said we got Kadari and Davon, I don't think I would have bought into that. So magical season. Like, I just hope all of our fans enjoyed every second of it. Keep enjoying every remaining second of the rest of it. Hug your loved ones. Sports is just such a magical thing, the way it has the ability to like bring people together.
Man.
Pat and Tommy O yesterday is the perfect example of just, hey, some idiots listening to us talk nonsensical in our 330 podcast viewers on YouTube, and he like wants to bring some guy that talks St. John's basketball to his box. Like, this is the coolest thing in the world to me.
And thank God for it. Yeah. Awesome job, Cole. Awesome job yesterday, Sean. Really appreciate you guys stepping in. I was in no shape to hop on there at any point yesterday and to deliver any type of message. So Big time thanks to you guys. Big time thanks to Tommy. Big time thanks to all the listeners out there. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know your thoughts. For Walter the Truth Berry, that's Cole Atshaw. I'm Pat Kane. This has been the Red Storm Rap Reaction Podcast. Peace.